Welcome back to C&J Productions. Today, we have a very interesting topic to discuss. We all know the hero Batman, correct? Well, today, we're going to be talking about how he is represented in two texts, the Batman 2022 and the Dark Knight 2008. But before that, let's just go over a brief summary of the character Batman. Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, was the son of the billionaire Thomas Wayne, who was the CEO of Wayne Enterprises. Bruce lived a luxurious life with everything he could ever dream of. A big house, a loving family, toys, and even a personal butler. But on one fateful night, after attending a play at the theater, Bruce and his parents decided to take a shortcut down an alleyway as it was the quickest way home. An unknown man comes around the corner in a hood, pulls out a gun, robs Bruce's parents of everything they had on them, and then proceeds to shoot them dead in front of Bruce, traumatizing him for life. When he becomes an adult, he trains to be a vigilante who fights against crime and delivers justice during the night, dressed in black, donning a bat signal on his chest, living two separate lives, one as the billionaire playboy and the other as the crime-fighting hero. What's so special about Batman is the fact that he is a normal human. No superpowers, no super strength, and no superhuman abilities. He bruises when he gets hit, and he bleeds when he falls. Yet he is still fighting to protect others. In the film The Batman at 5 minutes and 20 seconds to 8 minutes and 50 seconds, we get a monologue from this film's iteration of Batman. During these few minutes, we see criminals spray painting buildings and robbing stores with weapons. During Bruce's monologue, he talks about the past 2 years that he has been Batman and how it's impacted him and Gotham City itself. He talks about the effects he has had on criminals and how he has become a nocturnal animal.
2 years of nights have turned me into a nocturnal animal.
Batman is represented as the shadows, and this is because of his fighting style. He uses darkness and shadows to defeat his enemies. Batman's armor is also black, with a bat symbol across his chest, and culturally, we know bats are usually associated with darkness, shadows. The language feature technique shadows is used in this scene to prove that Batman is represented as the shadows. During the scene, we see multiple criminals being struck with fear when they see the bat signal get lit up in the sky. The signal means that Batman is out in the city, fighting crime. Once the signal is out, the criminals seen in the scene are instantly scared of the shadows. Batman then says the line, "They think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows." Batman actually says it himself that he represents the shadows.
They think I'm hiding in the shadows. But I am the shadows.
The text structure technique background is also used in this scene. We see a person robbing a store with a gun. While the robbery is going down, the camera slowly focuses on the background, outside the store window, and all we see is darkness. The music in this scene gradually starts to pick up and gets heavier, creating an eerie atmosphere in the scene as if someone is out there looking in through the window. In this scene, we don't know where Batman is. Is he in the shadows? Is he in the Batcave? We don't exactly know where he is. The movie is trying to say in this particular part that the darkness we see outside the window is supposed to be Batman.
Come on! Give me the money! Let's go! Let's go! All right.
It's a big city. I can't be everywhere.
The audience is positioned to believe that Batman is a dark vigilante who delivers justice for those who can't do it themselves. He's Gotham's savior. What's being valued in this scene is the use of darkness and fear. Batman uses both these techniques to frighten his enemies and throw them off balance. It's believed in this scene that Batman is the embodiment of darkness and righteousness. He protects and fights for those who are unable to do it for themselves. Batman being represented as lurking in the shadows creates fear and despair for the criminals in this scene, but makes us, the audience, pumped to see that he's stopping the bad guys. Now, let's talk about heroism. Some may say in this scene that Batman is quite frightening and borderline seems like a villain. But Batman uses fear to his advantage to stop the criminals in Gotham City from hurting anyone. He puts his own life at risk for others. Heroism means to have great bravery. Batman is a normal person with no superpowers, yet he's brave enough to stand up to those who wish to hurt others. He is the perfect example of heroism. We will now look at the 2008 iconic movie The Dark Knight and observe what text structures and language features did this film use to create one of its most iconic scenes from the Dark Knight series. Over to Josh for the rest.
Another great version of Batman was from The Dark Knight, created in 2008 by Christopher Nolan, starring Christian Bale as Batman and Heath Ledger as our main antagonist, the Joker. At 1:27:10 to 1:30:42, we see the famous interrogation scene between our two main characters. Throughout the scene, Batman is represented as a struggling hero whose morals are tested by the Joker. A quick summary of the scene is the following. Batman tries to find a location of Den, whilst the Joker diverts the questions and mocks Batman. Joker explains the whole world is corrupt and his actions are to show what real justice looks like. Batman, enraged, chooses brute force against the Joker to get the answers that he needs, which goes against his morals and values. This scene is said to be the most iconic part of The Dark Knight. What makes it so iconic is the two key components, language feature and text structure, which helped to influence the way the scene became what it is today. Component number one is visual language feature technique, facial expressions. Throughout the scene, Batman demonstrated expressions of determination, authority, anger, and occasional glimpses of empathy. It is clear in the scene that Batman's use of facial expressions demonstrated that he is morally conflicted and being pushed to his limits. The Joker's use of facial expressions in The Dark Knight is what makes the movie iconic. The Joker uses facial expressions expressing his thrill and ecstasy, watching Batman's rage and anger with Batman attempting to gain information. Joker's hypnotic use of eye contact, maniacal laughter, and a sinister smile are all examples of visual language features. But the key was his subtle changes, showing a glimpse of frustration and vulnerability before returning back to his sinister nature. The second component is the text structure technique, sentence styles. Batman shows restraint and determination as he focuses on his primary mission. Joker, on the other hand, mocks Batman, quoting,
"You let 5 people die, then you let Dent take your place. Even to a guy like me, that's cold."
Throughout the scene, Joker uses poetic and symbolic phrasing, explaining his ideology that these civil people will drop freaks like him at the first sign of trouble, quoting that he is not a monster just ahead of the curb.
See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
This infuriates Batman and creates an intense scene where his originally bold sentence style becomes more intense, demanding "where are they?" over and over again, but to no avail. We see Batman throw the Joker around, demanding the same question and forcefully punching Joker square in the face, with the only thing coming out of the clown's mouth was,
"You have nothing to threaten me with."
This scene showed how Batman used demanding and bold sentences primarily to gain information on Dent's location, whilst Joker was unaffected, laughing and continuing to mock Batman, enjoying Batman profusely go to such far extents whilst enraged as the plan wasn't working. The audience is positioned to question the true meaning of justice as the Joker explains the ideology that people only care about themselves and will drop Batman at the first sign of trouble. The interrogation scene values are justice and ideologies between order versus chaos. This intense scene has conflicting beliefs as Batman is a symbol of justice, yet Joker created key questions about the true meaning of Gotham's justice system to contest our beliefs as the viewer. Batman demonstrated a rather dangerous power and presence, throwing the Joker around and beating the Joker up, demanding answers, creating a fear yet excitement as we see Batman truly ticked off. When it comes to heroism, most would say in this scene Batman could be perceived as a vigilante, As once enraged, without hesitation, Batman used unethical methods to gain information, causing suspense and emotional engagement to our audience as we see Batman conflicted with emotions and standards. Heroism often means doing the unthinkable. In this scene, some argue Batman is slowly losing sanity after dealing with the Joker, yet most perceive the scene as true heroism, as he's willing to do the unthinkable for the sake of Gotham. The Dark Knight and the Batman movie are argued to be the best movies produced out of the entire Batman industry. Thanks to the key components, we've viewed shadows, facial expressions, background, and sentence styles. These are really just a few of the many major components that created the Batman $635 million at the box office and the Dark Knight over $1.006 billion. Thank you for watching C&J's production. Be sure to like and subscribe and give us that A+, Miss Hager. And remember,
Whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you
Stranger.